Well, thanks for being here, and my name is Luca Brighenti, and I'm the founder of B4Bind. Just briefly, I'm really happy to be here. It's the first time in Athens, so for me it's mostly like a pleasure. And today I'd like to give you more information about some project that I concreted, some concrete project that I developed with my team and with my clients around the world. Today we're going to talk about mostly around data, but also the opportunities that data that can give us. So just briefly, B4Bind, it's a company that has like two specializations. It specializes in go-to-market, so we help companies to build up revenues in Italy and Spain in particular. And on the same side, we also work we have also business solutions, so we build up revenues around the data business. So we create new revenue streams. Can you just check? Perfect. So today, as I said, well, we know that basically we have a fragmented customer journey today, but the main challenge for most of the brands is, of course, creating customer targets. And today, I personally think that we're building the wrong customer target, because we have so much data that we don't use, we don't know the value, and actually we can really bring a new solution, a new revenue stream for us. Most of the time we talk mostly about omni-channels, and of course you can create the best email marketing, the best strategy, you can create the best personalization of your website, but sometimes actually you create mostly silos for customers and not like a smooth, let's say, customer journey path. So of course we need to go forward basically around what is actually matters, and actually quit basically what we don't need actually to create, as I said, customer targets and customer engagements. I like to quote Bob Hoffman, knowing something is completely different from thinking you know something. As I said, we have a lot of data. We have a lot of reliable data, because today it's really concrete. We have purchase data, we have geolocation data, we have a lot of data around us, but we are still profiling our customers based on social demographic, for example, or psychographics. So we've made a lot of mistakes in advertising since it's born. So we know everything about our customer, but we cannot really release and address the right message inside of the customer journey. So it's time to change. So why we are still keeping doing these mistakes? These mistakes is because, as I said, we define we have a wrong way to define the customer target. Now we have the capability, of course, to dive into a granular data and understand so much more about my customer. For example, if I know if my customer purchase data, for me it's more interesting to understand for example, the level of loyalty of my customers. If my customer buy on my e-commerce I don't know, twice my brand, it means that probably he likes my brand, and surely my messages to this customer will be totally different from someone that never bought my brand. That's actually logic. But unfortunately, we don't live in a fully addressable and direct-to-consumer environment. So, of course, for us, it's pretty challenging to understand the attribution in this way. So, which kind of channel is the best for me in terms of sales? These are some of the basically data most used during ad campaign, advertising campaigns. You can see social demo, interest, and behavioral. They are the top three, but still we have. They could be also deterministic data, but they don't really tell me anything about my customers beside of the age and gender. What I wanted to focus on right now is on purchase data and geolocal data, because we can release really the potential of this kind of data and for these customers. Markets consisting of human beings, not demographic sector, so it's something that is actually giving me more credits on what I'm speaking about. So purchase data, for example, is something that we really need to integrate into our customer profiling strategy. And when I say customer profiling strategies, because most of the companies today, the big brands, are customer-centric. So we really need to release and have a really specific definition of our customers. But for sure, social demo doesn't really help a lot. So well, now we see customers, of course, through purchase transactions. And now I'm going to give you like an example in the e-commerce sector, of course, in the e-commerce industry, to understand, for example, so much more about them. And I want to give you like a concrete example that I used to run with a client I used to work. It's an e-commerce, it's a fashion e-commerce, and actually it's a pretty big fashion e-commerce in Europe. And I used to lead the data business for them and creating a new data product. So what we've done, we started from our data, purchase data. So we know how much items, how much things people buying, how often, what's the average cart, and all this kind of stuff. We define what we call the fashion life stage. So we have from top to the top, the formative person, let's say. It's a customer that actually is, for example, today I work for an agency and I can wear a t-shirt. Tomorrow I go to consultancies, I need a white collar. So it's totally changing my life, my fashion, basically, my habits. So people formative could be also very young. I like to try many different styles. Today I like this t-shirt, tomorrow I like, I don't know, a hoodie. On the other side, there is a customer that is more settled. It means that, for example, I don't know, I have 3 kids, I live outside of the city, I don't really care about fashion, probably my wife buy my clothes, my pants, my socks. So I don't really, let's say, care about fashion. It means that I'm more settled. I'm always buying kind of like the same things. We also match this data with other third-party providers, deterministic data providers. In particular, we focus on the social media. And we created the social axis. Social axis, it means that we are talking about mostly about habits of our customers, where we have blending in customers. It means that probably I'm kind of shy person. I don't care if my community, my friends see what I'm buying, or I don't want to show off basically my clothes or my purchases. On the other side, we have the standing out. It means it's the guy that probably wants to try to become like a little bit an influencer, tagging all the brands whenever he buys some new clothes, etc. So the standing out is really like somebody that really wants to show off, basically, and wants to tell about his fashion habits. From here, we created personas that actually, for us, it's something that the agency that actually I used to lead for this, the in-house agency I used to lead for this e-commerce, we created this segmentation that actually helped the brands, because the e-commerce, it's a multi-brand e-commerce, actually help our brands to understand where they are and what kind of customers do they have. So we really support our brands in this way to give them some real insights about customers. Let's take an example for the Street Snob. Street Snob, it's a standing out profile, so it really, let's say, Instagram obsessed. And formative, it means that he's changing many times his fashion lifestyle. Here, there are just the information that we have from our customer base based on purchase data. We are not speaking about the demographic, but purchase data. We have average order value, average item values, items per orders, a lot of interesting data that for us is actually help us to develop more personas. Let's take, for example, the woman, the female street snob. We can describe a fashion personality. As I said, it's somebody that is really like using Instagram, for example. It's kind of like addicted every time tagging the brands. And we know, of course, also the top category shopped and the top 3 brands. So you can imagine for an e-commerce such this one, that I cannot mention it, but I wanna give you more, probably you got it. But at the same time, this is like something that for us, it's super helpful. And if I go to sell this persona to, for example, Misguided, of course, they know that probably they're finding also loyal customers right there, and we can help them to enrich their CRM in this way, and also have better performance in the delivery of the messages to these personas. On the other side, we have the social media use. So basically, whenever we cross data with Facebook, with other third-party data, we can find so much more about our customers. For example, what kind of media they watch, or for example, the celebrities that they are following, or the brands they are really like, let's say, all the brands' affinities and all this kind of stuff. We also know the devices, for example, and the operating system. So of course, can you see like you can have like a so much better overview about the customers just starting from purchase data. Now I'd like to also introduce another case study that I run with a data provider in this way. So basically, I helped this data provider to develop an SDK. I don't know if you are familiar with these words, but anyway, it's like an ad server for application. And we created a data offer that today it's selling to big brands, and it's geo-behavioral data. Geo-behavioral data, it means that we have localization, so geo-targeting. It means that I can see this device basically if it's going into a shop, how much time can stay in this shop. It calls dwell time. We can have like a lot of information, of course, where this device is going, and of course every time we see the device going into a shop, etc., we tag the shop, and we know, for example, that this person went into, for example, Swarovski shop or whatever other shop. On the other side, we created and we query our data based on behavioral targeting. So basically, we can understand that this person, for example, is going, for example, I don't know, I see this device is staying for example, I don't know, 9 hours during the day in one specific place. Of course, probably this place is where is working this device, because we cannot call it persons. But still, we can gather a lot of interesting data. But the real value here is like we can have a matching between online data coming from the applications and the device. On the other side, we also have we can match it with offline data, because we see people in real life where they're going. So basically, for us, it's like a sonar kind of. But of course, it gives us, for example, insights. For example, I see people that is interested to buy a car because he was, let's say, visiting many different places where they are selling cars. Or I know kind of like, I don't know, which kind of restaurants. I know that there is a high spender person because these devices went to a star restaurant, so it means that probably he has money. He can spend also money into my brand, for example, which is targeted for luxury brands, and so on. So data available here that we created, it's offline daily user activity, and of course frequency and dwell time per each activity. Dwell time, as I said, is how much time these people is spending in one place. The last mile that I want to tell you, it's another company which I'm working right now, and we are building up the media business for them, and in particular, like we added a new data revenue stream, because for them it's of course money that data they can sell, so of course it's a new revenue stream for them. And I'd like to talk about the gift card world. I don't know if you are familiar with the gift cards, but there is like a huge opportunities inside of this career, because this has actually never been tested in media until today, so we are now still in the phases of testing with brands, with many players, of course also like to understand the uplift of performance. And we started with this client from the identification of the right stack, so MarTech, AppTech, and all this kind of stack, and of course we implemented the strategy with him. We started from digital gift cards. Digital gift cards for us, of course, it's a big value, because I can see people that is actually buying a gift card for a value of 20 euro, but of course it's digital, so I see, for example, when they download. And of course we know also how much time it takes for the customer to redeem this gift card. So basically, we created a purchase opportunity. We are not talking about purchase intent. We are talking about the concrete and deterministic purchase opportunity. I give you an example. If I buy a Zalando gift card, for example, it means that I'm interested. I'm now thinking to buy something like in the clothing, on the sportwear, or well, the sector is actually buying in fashion. So it means there is a person with money because he downloaded a gift card that is actually giving us the feedback that he's going to probably use this gift card inside of Zalando. And of course, Zalando can say to their clients, hey, you know what? There is like a person that is going to buy, probably, and we have 5 days, for example, because in fashion it's usually 5 days before the redeem, to influence these customers with your ads to buy your product. So now, as I said, we move forward and we talk about a guaranteed purchase intent situation. This is actually for us a new kind of data product, and as I said, we are now testing it. But as I said, the gift card allows us to intercept, of course, the user on the exact moment, which is developing and activating, basically, thinking about buying something. So we started with the deterministic data, starting from the gift card, downloads, gift cards, and this kind of stuff, applying probabilistic data on the redeem, basically, on the time windows, and of course we created a predictive cycle of the user purchase. So whenever somebody gets a gift card, I know that what kind of gift card you have, and also we add the probabilistic data, so usually for any sector they has a time windows that is actually changed. So, working on both levels, we created these guaranteed purchase situations, and of course we are selling it to media, and the media actually we are seeing already uplift in performance campaigns, so that's a great news for us and great news for the client. But and also, of course, we created, let's say, a little funnel about data that we can gather, in particular in the media strategies. Of course, we have offline, like traditional media, where we can build up the brand image, where we have audience. We have Facebook, where we know the habits, and we can target it. We can target this person based on habits. We have Google. We know well what people is looking for, and we know what to show them. Amazon, we have purchase data. As you see, there is like a lot of opportunity about that. And the last mile, as I said, there is like the gift card, because I'm not gonna give you like just a forecast about what this customer will buy, but I'm sure that this customer will buy in this category. Of course, the brands right now, they need to catch the opportunity and understand how to target this data on performance campaigns. Just for closing, we created what we call the future customers. It's a data product that we just built it up, and it means being able to add deterministic component on the purchase intent that has an estimated time window. Just remember also that to be creative, we have the opportunity, of course, to be creative not only in formats, not only in the creativity business, but also in the data business. So thank you very much, and that's it.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you very much. Very nice. Thank you.